All right behind me, what you're seeing is 34 wives that are being portrayed of the prophet Joseph Smith. You can see these were all his wives, an example of his wives. There were 34 that the LDS Church proclaimed. Now, the interesting thing about it is that the LDS Church did not actually proclaim this in the beginning. Most recently came out last year that Joseph Smith was a polygamist and had these many wives. Imagine having these many wives. Polygamy. All right, now, I don't know how you can marry a 14-year-old girl. I have 3 girls that I love and cherish. I don't know how you can marry a 14-year-old girl. But Joseph Smith married a 14-year-old girl. As a matter of fact, as you can see right here, this was his 26th wife of Joseph Smith. Age 14 years old. Now, tell me your story. How did that happen? Helen, when you know, I'm sure your father and your mother were probably freaking out. What are you thinking of doing, marrying my daughter? She's only 14. How did that happen? How did it all occur? What's your story?
Well, one day, my father and I had a talk, and he asked me if I would ever believe him if he told me that plural marriage was right. My first response was anger, and I just had never even fathomed that idea before, and it really made me mad. But I was just mad, and so I responded shortly to him, no, it wouldn't. This was the first time I had ever really shown him my anger openly, because we were very close. But we talked a little bit more, and we decided that it was the right thing to do. And I knew that
so your father and your mother were very devout believers of Joseph Smith, and they really felt that it was strong for you to marry and have an eternal family sealed with him.
Yes.
Did he come to you and say, Helen, God told me that you need to be my wife?
He did. He actually told me that if I was his wife, I and all of my family would get eternal life in the celestial kingdom. One of the reasons why I thought it was going to be acceptable was because I knew that my father loved me with all his heart. I was his only daughter, and he wouldn't give me up to something like this if it wasn't for the greater good. And so it also took a little bit of convincing with my mother, because she knew the horrors of polygamy. She had seen it, and she did not approve, but reluctantly we got her to, and I married him. And one day he sent me a letter, and it said, "My dear daughter, be obedient to the counsel you have given to you. If you should be tempted or have feelings in your heart, tell them to no one but your father and mother. If you do, you will be betrayed and exposed. You are blessed, but you know it not. You have done that which will be for your everlasting good for this world and that which is to come. I will admit there is not much pleasure in this world. Be true to the covenants that you have made. Be a good girl, your affectionate father." A few weeks later, Joseph Smith died, and I was left a widow. But I left polygamy, and I had a terrible illness. But I went back to polygamy, and it was gone. And I learned that I had fasted for a week, and every day I gained until I had won the victory. I learned that plural marriage is a celestial principle, and saw the necessity of obedience to those who hold the priesthood, and the danger of rebelling against or speaking lightly of the Lord's anointed.
Okay, so that changed your life, and you learned a lot of good things. All right, you know what, guys? I gotta just be honest with you. You know, they have in Doctrine and Covenants 132, the new and everlasting covenant, and you're seeing right here today, as we are here, you're seeing something that Joseph Smith created, so that they can be exalted to become gods. This was the whole view and perspective and the power that Joseph Smith wanted. You're seeing this today in Manti. And I just got to tell you, you have to think about these things. You got to figure out, was this the right man who, you know, that you believe in, that he put these ideas and all these women, they were in bondage. You know, you look at the bondage that these women, this great suffering that they had, emotionally, physically, psychologically. I'm sure it was very, very difficult. But you know, the reality is he had a lot of power and he had a lot of control, and he still has a lot of power and control if you believe his ways. Come to Jesus, and I'll tell you, you'll be free of that. God bless.